Last year, there was 2 million pounds of drugs brought across our southern border. Traffickers get these drugs across the borders using various ways. Sometimes they use the ports of entry, sometimes they use the air, sometimes they come through tunnels underground, and sometimes they bring them across the ocean. When they bring these drugs to the ports of entry, they use cars and trucks, and they hide them in different places within the vehicles. In cars, they're more likely to put them in the tires or the engine bays or the gas tanks or anywhere else they can hide it in the car. When they use like an 18-wheeler with the trailer, they'll put them in crates and hide them inside of fake fruits or vegetables or stuff like that. They do have ways of finding these drugs when they're bringing them through. They use drug dogs or x-ray machines to find them. If they don't come through the ports of entry, they'll use tunnels that are underground. The traffickers have a lot of money and they'll pay Mexican engineers to dig these tunnels. Some tunnels are very sophisticated and they have rail cars where they can load 70,000 pounds of drugs in one load, according to USA Today. The U.S. officials have found 224 tunnels since 1990. When they don't use the tunnels, they'll come by sea, and a lot of times they'll use speedboats, and they just zoom them across the ocean real quick from Mexico and drop it off, or they use homemade submarines. El Chapo is known for building these homemade submarines, and what they do is they piece them together and then they float them to the coast, down the river, and they assemble them once they get to the ocean. And it does take a long time and it's very dangerous for them to use these submarines. If they're not using that, then they go through air. The air, they'll use drones or airplanes, but most commonly drones. Drones will pick up a package of drugs and file them over, drop them off at a known location, and then someone will pick them up and sell them. Once they're sold, they get the money back to the traffickers where they make all their money. It is very expensive for these traffickers to do all these things, but they make all their money back because it's very expensive to buy drugs. El Chapo's legacy is very well known, and he's obviously very rich because of all the drugs he sold. Even though he is currently about to go to jail, his empire still goes on with all of his people that work for him. There are thousands of people that do this daily. They bring drugs across the border. So that's why I think we should build the wall.